Kiriko is the most broken support in Overwatch 2.
Orisa 1, Orisa 1.
I'm dead.
Orisa 1 main, Orisa 1 main.
Reaper. Nice. Reaper. Nice.
Ooh,
Lucian.
Since the public release of Overwatch 2, Kiriko has widely been considered the best support in the game by a long shot. She has extremely high survivability, along with a very consistent healing output and great dueling potential. On top of all of this, she has the best ult in the entire game. While all of these things are true, she is not an easy character to master. She requires high mechanical skill as well as awareness to get maximum value. But when you understand the best way to play her, she becomes the best support in the game by a large margin. Before we go into more detail about how to play her, let's go over the basics of her kit. Kiriko's primary fire is her healing Ofuda. This is a projectile that does an average of 78 healing per second. When locked onto an ally, these will turn yellow and home in on them, allowing Kiriko to easily heal high mobility targets without having to worry too much about aiming. When they are not locked on, the Ofuda will turn blue and continue in a straight line. These will still apply healing if they make contact with someone, but the chances of this happening are low. While technically not having a range limit, the Ofuda will stop locking onto someone if they are more than 35 meters away, so try and stay within this range as much as possible. Quick tip for Kiriko: change the setting toggle healing Ofuda to off. This gives you much more control on how many Ofuda are sent to a single target, allowing you to spread them out between targets more effectively. Kiriko's secondary fire is her kunai. This is a projectile that does 40 damage to the body and 120 to the head, making it ideal to aim for headshots when dueling other squishies. Keep in mind these projectiles aren't extremely fast, they are the same as Zenyatta's primary fire, so they take a little bit of leading and prediction at longer ranges. Another quick tip for Kiriko: I would highly recommend switching your primary and secondary fire on Kiriko. Having your main source of damage and dueling be bound to your secondary feels very awkward. Your heals being on right click has little to no repercussion, as it is typically very simple to use. Kiriko also has the same passive as Hanzo and Genji, which allows her to wall climb straight up most flat surfaces. This allows easy access to high grounds that most supports either can't get to or would have to use cooldowns to access. Kiriko's first ability is her Swift Step. This ability is on a 7-second cooldown and allows you to teleport to any allies within 35 meters, even through walls.
I'm with you. Hello. Excellent teamwork.
It also cleanses any negative effects, such as Ana's Anti-Nade, Junker Queen's Bleed, and a few others.
Hey.
She also gains a few frames of invulnerability, so it can be used to negate a lot of abilities like Cass's Magnetic Grenade or even Tracer's Pulse Bomb. Kiriko's second ability is her Protection Zuzu. This is a projectile that explodes on impact, which cleanses any negative effects and grants invulnerability to anyone within the 5-meter radius. It also grants a small 50 healing to anyone who is affected. This comes on a cooldown of 14 seconds, making it decently frequent for a cooldown with this much utility. Any allies affected by the Zuzu are also unable to be booped, pinned, hooked, or affected by any kind of CC whatsoever. Finally, Kiriko's ultimate, Kitsune Rush. When used, Kiriko sends an area of effect straight forward 25 meters, which applies a few buffs to any allies within it. These include having a movement speed increase of 30%, an increased fire rate and reload speed of 50%, along with giving back cooldowns twice as fast. The ultimate lasts 10.5 seconds. All of this combined makes it one of the best ultimates in the game. Keep in mind that Kitsune will be blocked by any walls, including Mei's, so try and use it in long, open areas to get the most possible value out of it.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Now that we're all comfortable with Kiriko's base kit, let's go into more detail on how to properly play her. Kiriko is a decently flexible support who has a large amount of healing along with good potential to get picks from her high damage headshots. She can be used as either the primary healer in a comp, or as someone who can do a little bit of off-angling and dueling if you're mechanically proficient. The best way to play her though is as a primary healer. Doing healing grants you much more ult charge than doing damage, so prioritize this over flanking and looking for picks. However, don't get caught only healing. Kiriko is similar to Ana and Baptiste in the way that you need to weave in damage with your healing in order to get the maximum value out of the character. Another thing to keep in mind is that her healing is a projectile, meaning you're often able to predict incoming damage and pre-heal targets. This can be extremely effective at helping you to do more damage over the course of a fight, as the more healthy your team is, the more opportunities you have to actually apply damage pressure. If you ever find yourself in a 1v1 with DPS or another support, use Kiriko's skinny hitbox to your advantage and AD strafe while mixing in some crouches to avoid as much damage as possible. It is also recommended to almost exclusively aim for headshots, as going for body shots in a 1v1 may be more consistent, but gives the enemy way too much time to actually kill you or force your cooldowns. Kiriko's Swift Step is her primary get-out-of-jail-free card. It is recommended to use this ability first before you use your Protection Suzu. You want to try and save your Suzu for your teammates as much as possible, so prioritize using Swift Step first and then using Suzu if chased. Also keep in mind the potential of saving a teammate who was very deep in the enemy backline or out of position by swift stepping and using your Suzu on them. This comes with a lot of risk, as you will have no cooldowns to keep yourself alive, but you also have the potential of turning a 1v1 into a 2v1 and turning the fight. It's a very risky play that might often end up in you being killed, so use your best judgment when going for it. If your teammate is almost guaranteed to die, you don't want to turn your team losing one person into your team losing two. Protection Suzu is Kiriko's best ability, but not as easy to use as, say, Baptiste's Immortality Field. However, it does provide many more benefits while being a much shorter duration. The biggest thing to think about when using Suzu is if it will end up saving the person you intend to use it on, or if it will even be needed at all. If the enemy team has a Tracer with a Pulse Bomb, but you use your Suzu too early in the fight when you didn't need to, the Pulse Bomb could end up killing someone and turning the fight. If you're not looking to negate an enemy ultimate with your Suzu, it should be used to prevent someone on your team from taking a lot of burst damage or for cleansing something like an anti-nade. Try to predict when someone on your team will take a lot of damage, instead of using it reactively after they've already taken it. Preventing any damage at all from hurting your team is much better than using it to give them a second of invulnerability after they've already taken the damage. However, this does mostly apply to your tanks, as using your Suzu reactively on your squishies will usually grant you enough time to heal them up. Kiriko's Kitsune Rush is the most important part of her kit, along with being the strongest part of it. Use it to initiate a fight, or, if you get it in the middle of a fight, to turn the fight around if your team is fully healthy. If you have it when starting a fight, it should always be used right then. It's also recommended to use your Suzu immediately before or after casting it, as the cooldown will come back much faster and will prevent anyone from randomly being one-shot while you're casting the ultimate. The potential of getting kills can be very tempting while using Kitsune, but don't disregard your team's safety by going for frags. Above all else, it is important for you to keep your team alive in this ultimate. Everyone else will also gain the benefit of the ultimate, so try to prevent them from getting chunked down. It's usually safe to start out by doing damage and then after a few seconds, quickly heal everyone back up so you can go into DPS mode again. Let's finally talk about Kiriko's matchups. Considering how strong she is, there honestly isn't a character she's specifically bad against. Instead of showing a tier list, I thought it would simply be better to talk about the characters she's extremely good against, along with talking about characters she has really good synergy with. For characters she's good against, the primary example would be Junker Queen. Kiriko can apply steady pressure onto a Junker Queen with headshots, but the main reason she's so strong against her is because of her cleanse. Suzu can cleanse the bleeding effects of Junker Queen's main kit, along with cleansing the entirety of Rampage, making it nearly useless. If you know the enemy Junker Queen has her ult, it is often smart to let your team know and ask them to group up so the Queen will be baited into using it. This will allow you to easily cleanse the entirety of the ultimate. Another character that Kiriko does very well against is Ana. Being able to cleanse massive anti-nades along with waking up anyone slept by an Ana is very powerful. She can also easily be headshot when scoped in. Kiriko is also very strong against flankers like Tracer and Genji, as the threat of your kunai along with your high escapability can be very annoying to actually duel. Suzu is also very good for countering their ultimates, as Pulse Bomb will do absolutely nothing, and Dragon Blade can actually be shut down almost entirely with a really good Suzu. Now let's talk about characters that Kiriko synergizes well with. She's great when paired with a Roadhog, as she can cleanse the Hog whenever he gets antied or slept by his main counter, Ana. Kitsune Rush also combos really well with Whole Hog. To be honest, she can be played pretty much whenever because of her flexibility. Just keep in mind that not every comp will have you play the exact same way, so be sure to analyze your comp and the enemy's comp to figure out how you need to play that match. That's gonna do it when it comes to playing Kiriko. Hopefully this guide will help you guys understand her a bit better. She is easily the best support in the game at the moment. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Also, all my socials will be down in the description. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for me. I will see you all next time.